This is Albert. He is 69 years old and a US-American politician. His father was also a politician and Senator of Tennessee. He followed his father as Senator of Tennessee in 1984, but already 9 years later, he became Vice President under Bill Clinton. He's also better known as Al Gore. Finally, in the year 2000, he ran for presidency against the Republican candidate Bush. George W. Bush Jr. The 2000 US election was hard fought, but in the end Al Gore lost against Bush. Aww. Al Gore won the election in popular votes with 500,000 votes more than Bush, but Bush won the majority in the Electoral College. Afterwards, there were many rumors going on about the crucial swing state Florida because, after more than a month of counting the votes, Bush won the state with only 537 votes more. Al Gore wanted to recount the election in Florida because of about 175,000 votes, which were declared invalid due to technical problems. After a decision in the Supreme Court, this was refused. It is often said that Bush's brother, Jeb Bush, who was governor of Florida at that time, had something to do with the refusal. Years later, the votes were recounted with the result that Al Gore would have won the election, but the result wasn't presented due to the beginning war. After the lost election, Al Gore didn't want to candidate anymore, but he found a new topic. He then became ambassador for environmental protection because he did a lot of presentation about climate change. He was into this topic since his time in university when a professor referred about climate change. Already in 1992 he published a book called Earth in Change. After the last election he made journeys with a slideshow about climate change, and at a certain point he decided to make a movie about it. This movie was published in 2006 and is called An Inconvenient Truth. In the movie, Al Gore describes the problem that more and more greenhouse gases are put in the atmosphere by humanity. This causes the greenhouse effect, and by that, global warming. Ideas to stop this development, like the Kyoto Protocol, didn't really help. He then shows examples like melting glaciers in the Himalaya and on Mount Kilimanjaro, which will in some years affect the water supply of many people. A proof that this is caused by CO2 can be found in the Arctic ice, because this shows that the concentration of CO2 rise dramatically in the last 50 years. Already in the 1970s, some scientists stated a warming of the oceans, but they were mocked. Al Gore compares this with the British ignorance towards German fascism in the early 1930s. Through rising temperatures, more floods occur, but also more droughts. This happened in India in the year 1994, when the monsoon didn't occur, but Mumbai was flooded at the same time with 940 liter per square meter in only one day. Also, the permafrost in northern areas is melting, which destroys housings and railroads. Polar bears have to swim more than 100 kilometers sometimes to reach the securing ice. Dangers like a stopped Gulf Stream because of melting ice would affect the world dramatically. Through melting ice, the sea level will rise and will cause more than 100 million of refugees one day. He hopes for a shock like it happened in the cigarette industry to make the people think about climate change. He closes the film with citing Upton Sinclair, who states that change is hard if it affects people's income. Al Gore believes that it is possible to keep the living standard without destroying the environment. Many people see Al Gore critical because they think that it is just a one-man show. In his film, he can always be seen, and one may think that it is not about the environment, but about him. Also, his appearance at climate summits appeals like he is still an important politician, and it often seems that he is the man to secure the world. All in all, many criticize him for being more important than his actual topic. This was proven when he published an inconvenient sequel, Truth to Power, in 2017, where he's talking about the Trump election and his own big role in Paris at the climate summit. One has to say that Al Gore is ambassador for environmental protection, but he is not the superhero who he often sees himself as.